Well, every now and then, smart aleck want to come on my comment section on my video log here and want to lambaste the Jews, want to try to call me names like kike. And yes, like I said yesterday, or was it this morning, somebody started doing that and then denying the Holocaust. Look, if you want to call me names, that's fine. I don't care. If you are going to deny the Holocaust, I'm going to delete you. Plain and simple. Concerning the name calling, I'm used to it. That garbage started as soon as I went to school. As soon as I went to school. It started before I went to school. It started with my older brother and sister, who did not know any English at the time. And for the first time, going to public school, they started to learn English. What kind of language were they speaking then? Well, the language very similar to Yiddish. Some people would say there is no difference, and that's arguable. Pennsylvania Deutsch. And immediately they were called by the children there in Edgewater School in Edgewater, Maryland. They were called German Jewish epithets. So the stuff they started on me, I say it started when it was first grade, but it really got going when I was in third grade, all the way to eighth grade. Now, from third grade, I think, if I remember correctly, my mom and dad got rid of the television altogether. And so, we didn't really know what was going on in TV land back in those days. So, I suppose, like I said, when I was in third grade, the kids found a TV personality that apparently, back in those days, the facial similarity was what is the word that I want to use? I apparently looked like Henry Block of H&R Block. So that's what they used to call me. From, like I said, third grade to eighth grade, they would say H&R Block. They would say H&S Block, just to make sure that I didn't understand what that was all about. I had no idea. But apparently, I had, in those days, an uncanny resemblance to Henry Block. Who is Henry Block? Well, he is a famous Jewish CPA. Well, now looking back on it, I take that as a compliment. I thank you to all those folks for making that, pointing out the resemblance. It's a compliment to me. And if you think that the term kike is going to upset me, no, you're wrong. You're wasting your time calling me names. It's not going to upset me. I take it as a compliment. And I take it as a compliment because you, especially you Catholics, because Maryland was predominantly Catholic, and in those palatial Catholic cathedrals and houses of worship, that is where they brainwash the children to behave in such a way. But when you put me with the Jews, it is a compliment, and I thank you. Now, on to what I wanted to talk about. And undoubtedly this afternoon, when Nebka Weekly comes on, I'm sure they're going to have some more of this particular article or this particular subject matter. But I will read from Debka.com right now. The title is Quneitra Falls to Syrian Army, Damascus 1974 Accord Permits Syrian air flights over Israel's Golan border. And I'm thinking to myself when I read this whole article, what was the Helsinki Accord all about? Was it a knife in Israel's back? Is what I wonder. So I will read. Syrian rebel resistance to the Syrian army advance on Quneitra opposite the Israeli Golan crumbled on Thursday, July 19, in the absence of Israeli military support. The terms of surrender that rebel leaders signed with the Syrian army officers obliged them to hand over all their strongholds, including the town of Quneitra. The Syrian army was able to return to the positions held before 2011 uprising without a shot. Rebels refusing to sign were to be sent with their families north to Idlib province, or Idlib, I don't know how you say that. Israeli officials and military leaders were dismayed by a message received from Damascus claiming that the 1974 separation of forces accord, which both governments resuscitated this week, allowed Syrian aircraft, including assault helicopters and UAVs, to fly over the buffer zones of the Golan up to the Israeli border. Damascus relayed a copy of the accord to Moscow with a warning that any Israeli attempt to shoot down a Syrian overflight would be a breach of the 1974 accord. In its endorsement of the July 16th, on July 16th by President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Debka file revealed on July 17 that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had partnered the Helsinki deal for the restoration of the southern Syria to the Syrian army under Russian oversight. Israeli officers were handed the Syrian message on Thursday by the UNDOF commander, Major General Francis Vib Sanziri of Ghana, who is henceforth responsible for monitoring the implementation of the Helsinki deal. According to Debka File's military sources, this Syrian message for the first time forbids the Israeli Air Force and anti-air missile batteries shooting down Syrian aerial vehicles entering the airspace over the buffer zones. On July 13, Israel shot down a Syrian drone entering the buffer zone. This is no longer permissible. Israel is even precluded from discovering if the intruder belongs to Iran or Hezbollah, leaving both these hostile entities free to fly at will over Israel's Golan border. Furthermore, Assad may have those flights painted with Syrian Air Force markings, just as he supplies Syrian military uniforms to disguise Hezbollah and pro-Iranian Shiite militiamen. our sources reveal that it took the Assad regime no more than 4 days to renege on Syria's role in the Helsinki Accord. For regaining Quneitra, the Syrian army, led by disguised Hezbollah and Shiite troops, were obliged to evacuate the Beit Jin pocket opposite the IDF's Herman outpost. On Monday, July 16th, the Syrians pretended to pull back while actually leaving several hundred troops behind, disguised this time as civilians and farmers. That's why I ask, is the Helsinki Accord a knife in Israel's back? We shall soon learn the answer. I will probably do another video this afternoon when because this Debka Weekly is going to be very interesting.